Cronkite Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite Newswatch. I'm Richard Flores.
And I'm Mohamud Ali. Thanks for joining us tonight.
The much anticipated report and investigation to Operation Fast and Furious has been released, and several law enforcement officials from Arizona are being singled out. The Office of the Inspector General released their much anticipated report on Fast and Furious today, all 471 pages. The report centered around the botched Fast and Furious gun running program where the ATF left guns walk across the border from Arizona into Mexico, part of an operation to try and track guns and cartels, but it fell apart and Border Patrol agent Brian Terry was killed by one of the lost weapons. For months, Justice Department officials have been grilled by members of Congress about the operation, and today, the report delivered by the Justice Department reviewed more than 100,000 documents and found misguided strategies, errors in judgment, and management failures. The Inspector General referred more than a dozen possible disciplinary action for their roles in the operation. The report did not criticize Attorney General Eric Holder. A hearing scheduled for tomorrow will be in the House. We'll have a full report for you tomorrow on Cronkite News.
Just a few hours ago, District Judge made a major ruling on the Senate Bill 1070 controversy. Effectively, immediately, law enforcement officers can start enforcing the most debated part of the immigration law, the so-called Show Me Your Papers rule. U.S. District Judge Susan Bolt ruled that police in Arizona can immediately start asking about immigration status while informing others. It's the latest milestone in the two-year legal battle against the law. Opponents of the law asked the judge to block Senate Bill 70, saying it was racist and will lead to racial profiling. However, in June, the Supreme Court upheld the law, and lawyers for Governor Jan Brewer have been pushing to let the requirements go into effect. They say police officers are trained to avoid discriminatory practices and that they must have reasonable suspicion that a person is here illegally before they can question the status. Governor Brewer issued a statement essentially saying this is an important day for Arizona, but it says it's not enough to just let the law enforcement must be enforced efficiently and effectively and in harmony with the Constitution and civil rights.
Speaking of Jan Brewer, Mohammed, a newly released expense report shows Governor Jan Brewer spent thousands of taxpayer dollars on a recent trade promotion trip in Europe. Brewer and two of her aides spent about $32,000 on the two-week trip, with their business class plane tickets and hotel fees costing more than $18,000. While almost half of the funding for the trip came from private sources, the rest came from taxpayers. A representative for Brewer said the business class tickets were deemed appropriate on the long flight since private money funded the upgrade.
Arizona residents continue to fight for approval to continue its Medicaid program for more than 100,000 Arizonans who lost government-paid health coverage after it was cut last year from the budget. A public hearing today at the Disability Empowerment Center allowed people to voice their concerns to state officials about health care coverage. Arizona is looking for more government funding, not only to help more childless adults who were kicked off the program last year to close budget gap, but others who could lose coverage if more federal funding doesn't come in. Thousands still need to be insured, and advocates argue that coverage will help the community as whole.
We see just amazing examples of people just becoming healthy and reconnecting with their own families, becoming employed, and it's all because they're healthy and they're stable and connected with health care.
And personally, it helps them as well.
2012 marks 10 years since Arizona issued its first ever Amber Alert. The initiative to help find and safely recover missing children was launched in 2002 and broadcasts missing children's reports to the public statewide. A total of 70 Amber Alerts have been issued since the program began, all but one of those cases were successfully resolved. The current Jesse Shockley case is the only exception.
And that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night for the latest in weather, sports, and news. Good night, everybody.